I'm Will Johnson. I'm about to go on my vacation, but before I do, I have a presentation I want to give you. But first, I want to ask you a serious question. Do you want to die? Yes, you heard me. I said, do you want to die? Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you guys. But seriously, do you want to die? Think about that for a moment. Or more simply, do you want to die in one of our beautiful national state parks? Chances are you don't. I surely don't. But sadly, some people have died. Every year, accidents and things happen at our state parks that cause death. Parks such as the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone National Park, and Yosemite National Park, among my favorite. Yet, they've claimed the lives of many people. Let me give you some other stories I want to share with you. One's Greg Austin Gingrich. He goes to the Grand Canyon with some friends and family. They spend a good day down at the park, and they decide to leave for the day. So a group of them go ahead of them, and he and his daughter are the last ones coming up the hill. And as they go past the visitor center, there's a big rock right up the rim of the Grand Canyon. And he stands on this big rock, and he yells at his daughter that's walking toward the parking lot and says, "Look at me! I'm going to fall! I'm going to fall!" And then he jumps back and disappears behind the rock. And his daughter looks at him and says, "Oh, Dad, stop playing around." And then she walks onto the car. Well, after a while, the family was worried, like he didn't show up coming back from a rock. So his daughter said he was playing a joke and he was over by the visitor center. So let's go back there. So they go back there and he's nowhere to be found. So they tell the park authorities. Hours later, he was nowhere to be found. Then they sent a search team to look for him down below where he was. And sadly, there he was, 400 feet down, a crumpled body, dead from the fall. Investigators surmised that he was playing a joke and there was a ledge behind that big rock that was about 2 to 3 feet wide. And as he jumped down, he lost his footing and fell 400 feet to his death. Another story is the Clubb family. Roger Clubb and his son Roger Jr. and his wife Jean and his other little son Eddie all spent the day at the park. It was a beautiful day. They made it down to the end of at the bottom of the canyon and were making their way back up. And as they were going along this dry creek bed and started their ascent back up to the visitor center. But they turned around and noticed that their son was behind them. And at the same time, they also noticed that there were some clouds forming ahead, and it was raining at a distance away from them, so it was a storm about to come. Thinking nothing of it, they told their son to hurry along. Suddenly they could hear this loud rush, and the father figured it out, that dry creek bed was no longer going to be dry. As he saw his son and saw the water coming, he decided to make a mad dash to grab his son and take him to safety. Onlooker saw him and said they never saw a man run so fast. But he didn't make it. Just before he got to his son, a wall of mud, debris, boulders took him and his son down the rest of the creek bed to the river. They were killed. Hours later, they found Roger Clubb's body, crumbled and dead. They couldn't find the son. They found him 5 days later, crumbled and dead. And then there was Brad Weiner, decided to go on a hike by himself. His father dropped him off at the trailhead, told him to pick him up 5 days later. 5 days came, 6 days came, 7 days came. His son never called, didn't come back. So he told the park authorities, and they did a mass search for him. Unfortunately, they found Brad dead with a crumpled body. Investigators surmised that he suffered dehydration and heat stroke because the temperature was in the hundreds all week long, and where he died was an area where it looked like he purposely dove down a cliff and landed headfirst to the bottom. It surmised that because of dehydration, he was having illusions and probably thought it was a swimming pool down there and decided to take a dive, claiming his life. Things like this have happened at these state parks, and things that could have been prevented. Doing practical jokes on a high cliff, not smart. Going on a hike by yourself and also not bringing enough water and equipment to survive the heat and the atmosphere, environment, not smart. And going on a hike on a dry riverbed when it's noticeably raining somewhere in the area, not smart. There are many things that you can do to prevent anything from happening to you that could cause your death. I'm sure these people did not want to die. And there are hundreds and thousands of others that have died over the history of our national parks. Some are accidents do happen, but some can be prevented. Most of them can be prevented. So I urge you that when you go to state parks, practice the safety tips. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to all the safety tips that the parks give you. When you're going on a trip, go on their website and follow all the safety tips that they have there to prevent you from having any mishaps. Don't be sad to die while you're on vacation. And I don't want that to happen to you. And this is a serious thing. So please, practice safety when you're on vacation this summer, especially if you go to state parks where it's dangerous. Thank you for listening. And I am going to Grand Canyon myself, and I'm going to practice safety while I'm there. Because I don't